Thank you so much for joining today. So to start off your project and how you found your project, who your professor was, and did you do the one-on-one or the future scholar?
So how did I find CCIR was I did a summer fellowship with International Socioeconomics Laboratory, and a classmate of mine at ISL, International Socioeconomics Laboratory, started following CCIR for some reason. And then it started showing up on my feed. And then I got interested in it. And then I told my father about it. And he got excited about it. So I was very confused about which to pick, the 101 or the Cambridge Future Scholar. So you know Oliver, right? So Oliver was with me in a meeting and he told me, we chatted about it and we discussed it and we decided that we would do the Cambridge Future Scholar program, and he recommended Dr. Erb's course to me. Dr. Erb's course, this is the first run of it, right? Bioethics of Human Enhancement. And it was a wonderful summer.
Amazing. So it sounds like you had a really, really good time. What did you end up writing doing your project on, your final project?
So the topic was bioethics of human enhancement. At the beginning, I thought I'd go for something like FGM, female genital mutilation, or something like that, something along the lines of, because I'm queer, I thought I would explore something in that territory. But I was on a walk with my father. We go on these walks after dinner time. And we were just strolling, and I remembered, because I keep up with the news, I just remembered that I had read this thing about women in B district of Maharashtra going through hysterectomies at a rate 14 times higher than the national average. And it was like, this is bioethics of human enhancement. This is human enhancement going on in real time. Instead of wasting my time talking about like ivory tower discussions about what is philosophy, what is morality, I could just very well I could help real people, my people, because I'm a Maharashtrian. I thought, why not? And I was like, I have an idea. I was like, my father was shocked. He was like, what happened? Like, I have an idea.
Wow, that's so cool. Did you say you're Mauritian?
Yes, I am a Maharashtrian.
Oh, are you in Mauritius right now?
Not Mauritius. I'm a Maharashtrian.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I got that confused. Okay.
It's a linguistic state in India.
Okay. It sounded like Mauritian, so I thought you were in Mauritius for something.
No,
because I'm actually in South Africa, so I was like gonna say that we're near each other.
Okay.
But yeah.
Okay,
cool. And what I really liked what you said about the fact that through the project you were able to help real people and not kind of feel like you were in like this ivory tower of like looking at everything abstractly, objectively, and stuff like that.
Exactly.
And I think that's really interesting because oftentimes people think that when they do something that's very academic or such as a lot of work that CCIR like produces as a program can be seen as like this is a bit of an ivory tower situation. But I really like your approach in that you really have decided to make it what the way to describe it is not like relatable but applicable sort of project. That's really cool. And in terms of your sort of experience, your experience doing the actual program, you obviously had other students with you since you were doing Future Scholar.
Yes.
What was that general sort of experience like? And also working with a professor, a university level professor?
So your question is two parts. I'll answer how it was having classmates. So I had three classmates, Adya, Ling, and I forget his name, something. And so
Yeah.
Oliver. So there were four of us, including me. And Oliver and I, or Adya and I, we would just sit because Moya, our TA, they would give us these really difficult argument maps or something, something you really had to apply your brain to. And we would sit together on Zoom meetings and we would try to figure it out. We would try to plagiarize our answers and somehow not plagiarize them. And because they would get suspicious if we did something. So we were trying to figure out a way to do our assignments fully and with the full scope of our abilities and still, be creative about it. So we could do that together. And especially in Dr. Earp's class, he makes it so easy for you to have a conversation with him. He is tremendous. He's wonderful. He is amazing. He opens the door for communication and he lets you in and he talks to you like an adult. He doesn't talk to you as a 17-year-old or an 18-year-old or a high school student. He gives you the full respect he would give or grant an adult. So Dr. Earp's class is a fertile field for discussion and theorization and dialogue.
It's very, very cool. It sounds like you also became you developed a good relationship with the students and the professor. Were you at all, intimidated by the idea of working with a university level professor, or is this something that you knew that you would be good at?
I didn't know I would be good at it. I'd never done it before. I had done the ISL thing, which was International Socioeconomics Laboratory. So we had a lot of professors from Ivy League colleges and Oxbridge coming to teach us, but it was quite a large class and they couldn't pay a lot of attention to every single person. There were 300 of us. And I mean, that explains it. So this was quite different. This was getting to talk to somebody who is a genius and you're looking up to them, but at the same time, you have to look at them in the eye and have the guts to talk to them. So I think the main part of it was Dr. Earp made it so easy for us to talk to him. The youngest in the class, Adya, she would express, I've never seen her hesitating or having second thoughts about her arguments or anything. She would just express herself fully. And she has said that too. And our personal communication, that if the youngest in the class can feel the same as the oldest in the class, then I think you have established some sort of democracy in the class.
Definitely. I really love that. Yeah. And it seems like this was a very learning environment is usually. How do you feel like your experience at CCIR will influence how you approach universities when you eventually apply or try and choose where you're trying to study?
So I'm going to be 19 this December the 1st. So I took a gap year due to personal reasons. And I applied to universities in UK just a month before this month, in October, I think. The deadlines for Cambridge close in October. So, and having this project, even if it goes unpublished, you can very well make it your bachelor's thesis, if you choose the same subjects. And there's a high likelihood that you would choose the same subjects, because why would you do something you're not interested in? So it logically follows. And so having a recommendation letter from an Ivy League or an Oxbridge professor. Dr. Earp is the senior director at the Gale Hastings program, and he's also a professor at Oxford. So, I mean, 5 stars.
Definitely. You want to study and that kind of stuff. Do you feel like this project has highly influenced your sort of direction?
Could you rephrase that question?
Do you feel like the project you have done with CCIR has determined like what you want to study in university, or what kind of research you want to do and stuff like that?
Yes. So before I joined CCIR, I was my strength was socioeconomics, and that was my field. And it was decided that I would do sociology or something in that area. And then I entered this program, and then I found the wonderful world of philosophy and politics, and how the two combine and like form this like beautiful overlapping area. And so I was convinced, and because our mentor was so good at what he did, I was like, sometimes you have these projects where you see the mentor and you're like, I want to be just like them. I look up to them. And that's what happened with me, I guess. I was like, done, now philosophy. I'm going to study philosophy no matter what. So I applied to various colleges, and I applied to most of them where they had the course. I applied for politics and philosophy. So, okay. And also this convinced me. I remember our TA, Moya, they gave us an assignment where we had to draw an argument map of this argument, which went something like philosophy. Many people think that philosophy graduates are unemployable, but employers find great potential in philosophy students and their critical thinking skills, etc., etc. Yeah. And we had to do something about that argument. We had to restructure it and do something about it. And I think Moya was trying to tell us that if you do this, you're not going to be unemployed. Like, look at me. We had Moya, we had Dr. Earp, and they are not unemployed. So, like, philosophy doesn't, academia doesn't land you in poverty. That's what I'm trying to say. You can be very successful in academia too. Definitely.
There's definitely a big misconception there. Because people treat it as like very black and white, but there's obviously so many paths and options. And I did, I mean, in general, and I know this is like a bit off topic from your project, but I did a project for another company once, and we read this really cool paper, which basically stated that companies at some point were looking for people who would thrive in like tech, right? But now they're looking actually for students who have incredible critical thinking skills. And that actually comes mostly from your philosophy students, your humanities students, and liberal arts environments, which obviously is also what we try to foster. Yeah, exactly. So that was a very cool, also I studied sociology when I was in college. And I will definitely say that I worked in like a lot of different environments since then. And just the ability to think quickly on your feet and like understand so much, like the breadth of knowledge is very, very useful for our job market right now. So yeah, and you obviously are interested in philosophy, but you are interested in many different things. You're interested in the world, like, you know, and that's what I think will be very, very useful for companies, but also just for yourself being like a person in the world, right? Like we always trying to like find these jobs or whatever, but it's also just about being, you know, the best version of yourself. So yeah. I think that it's a great choice for philosophy, and people like to say all of those other things, but it's great. Yeah. Great. And also one more question for you is, if there was a student who was interested in CCIR doing one of the programs, what would your advice be to them? Or would you I mean, I know you would recommend it because you obviously love the program, but do you have any like words for them, or just anything you would say to them?
I would say be creative about it. Don't hold yourself back, because what I did was, initially I thought I would just do this process of like, you know, abstract thinking and in my room, holed up in my room and just like typing and, you know, making stuff up, because that's what I thought philosophy was. But then I met my teachers and they kind of inspired me. I think the teacher also has some role to play in this, because they inspired me to think, to even think of doing something creative or different, because I did field work. I met the women who have gone through hysterectomies. I have seen their condition. I've seen their homes. I've eaten with them. But I mean, going through that, I required an ethics approval thing in the middle. So for that, I had to go through an ethics committee, as you know. So Dr. Earp helped me with that very much. He was like, I told him like, listen, I know this is sounding very like out of the box and maybe this won't work for this program, but I want to do field work. And he was like, let's do it. And
that's really cool.
Yeah, he told me that he would look into the ethics approval thing going on and he would get back to me. And immediately that night, he got back to me about the ethics approval thing. And then I sent my project to them and it was approved. And then I did field work. So don't hold yourself back. Like, let your imagination run free, because it's going to take you places.
I'm so glad you had such a positive experience, because it's, I really like that you also advise people to like be creative about it, because I think one misconception is also that it's a rigid program and it needs to be like super serious and stuff like that, because, you know, you have to, because it's like in academia and you're working with professors. But it's just so great to hear that, and this is a very common experience with our students, like the professors are so down to earth and so ready to help all of the students. And also, like you were saying, they treat them like adults, like real students. And so it's quite empowering is what I always gather. Great. I mean, it's been so good to chat to you. And I think that the students who will listen to this will be very well informed and more excited about the program and the possibility of doing the CCR work. That's really it from my side. It was really great to meet you and just chat to you about your experience.
And you.
Yeah. And are you planning on submitting your work to anywhere to see if you can get into a journal or
So Dr. Earp and I, we have applied. He gave me the feedback I needed and he recommended that I apply to Journal of Medical Ethics. It's a prestigious journal, as you might know. And I've submitted my work there. It's awaiting approval.
Yeah.
Very
cool.
You can totally get your work published too, and in very prestigious journals.
That's so fun. I think that's the most exciting part, is when students submit stuff, because it's just such a cool thing to experience and a great introduction to like what academia will be like. Well, I hope, I definitely, best of luck with the journal sort of entry, but also it was so good to chat to you, and definitely let us know. Yeah, let us know if you get accepted, and we would love to see how it goes. Yeah. Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time. Yeah.
No, thank you. Thank you. The pleasure was all mine. Bye.
Amazing. Amazing. Have a good day. Bye.
And you.